What's up guys, Omni here, and today we're analyzing Marisa, the free reward unit from the current Tempest Trials mini. First, let's take a look at her stats. At 46 HP, she has one of the highest HP stats among infantry units. 30 attack is average for a red sword. 36 speed is above average, but the red sword infantry class has some of the fastest units in the game like Era or Mia. Her defense is decent at 30. While her 22 resistance is average for a red sword, which is to say it's not good. She does have inflated BST at 163, which puts her on par with all the other newly released sword units. When looking at her stat distribution, I would say she's an above average sword unit. Her offensive spread of 30 attack and 36 speed doesn't match up with the likes of Era, Mia, or Soleil, while her defensive spread of 30 defense and 21 resistance is nothing impressive. So she lags behind the best units in the class, without being really impressive anywhere else. And that's because all her extra stats went into HP. Marisa's stat line is actually fairly similar to Joshua, whom is a pretty good unit in his own right, except she has much more health instead of resistance. Actually, the character she's most similar to is Carol, which might not be a coincidence as they are both wielders of the Wodao sword. Overall, she's a pretty decent sword unit. Now let's look at her default set. As previously stated, Marisa has the very desirable Wodao sword, which increases special damage by 10, and is one of the best inheritable swords in the game. Her special is Glimmer, which is a perfectly acceptable choice to pair with Wodao, since it's a 2-charge skill. HP Defense 2 is fine as a budget skill. The star of the show is definitely Infantry Pulse though. This is the incredibly rare skill that's locked to Dorcas, whom is a 5-star summon, and Summer Xander, whom is a seasonal unit, and now everyone has access to it. Infantry Pulse allows for very unique strategies since it decreases special charge by 1 of all infantry units with health lower than the user at the start of the battle. It only works once per battle, but it can give you an incredible advantage if you set up your team correctly. This advantage comes from the fact that Infantry Pulse stacks with similar skills and itself. So if you have an infantry team of 3 Infantry Pulse users, the lowest health unit will have a 3-charge special already charged at the start of the battle, or a 4-charge special if they use Quicken Pulse as well. Marisa, with her high HP and her default A skill, is a great user of Infantry Pulse. For a budget set, if you're going for an Infantry Pulse team, then it's fine to just fill in the blank slots with Reposition, Desperation, and the Brash Assault Seal. It's important to note that if you use Infantry Pulse, it's best to have at least 2 Infantry Pulses on the team to really maximize its effects, though 3 is obviously the best. Not everyone has access to 2 copies of Infantry Pulse. With this kind of build, Marisa is pretty much just an average sword unit without that much offensive presence, but she fulfills her role as the highest HP Infantry Pulse user, and frankly the unit that doesn't actually benefit from Infantry Pulse doesn't see as much combat as everyone else. If you don't want to use Infantry Pulse, you can just swap it with any of the buff skills. It would be a waste to not make use of such a rare skill. If you want to invest in Marisa a little more, then Fury is a great option since it gets her a higher speed tier, where she's only doubled by enemies with 44 or more speed. With her high HP, Marisa is able to tank almost anything that does not double her, so getting a high speed is very useful for her. Plus, Fury synergizes very well with Desperation and Brash Assault. This combo will allow her to double any melee enemy or close counter enemies before they can attack her if she's under 50% health, if the Brash Assault Seal is at level 3. Since Marisa is able to tank most hits due to her high health and good speed, she's able to go under 50% health fairly easily. I think this is a pretty good budget set for Marisa and works very well with her stat distribution. However, if you're willing to put in the investment, I think Life and Death matches the build even better, as the extra 2 attack and speed really helps. Not only enemies with 46 or more speed will double Marisa, and that's the kind of speed you will only see against plus 10 merged enemies. It's difficult to make a case between the 3 different 2-charge specials in the game, which are Moonbow, Glimmer, and Reprisal, so it might be best just to stick with Glimmer. However, 3-charge skills like Draconic Aura or Luna are also perfectly good to use if you want to increase your burst damage. Any higher than 3 charges and you're losing out on the effect of Wodao though. For the refinement of Wodao, there's a good case for either an attack or speed refinement. If you stick with Fury or the budget set, then definitely go with speed, as that will bring her speed up to 42 speed. But if you use Life and Death, then you're already in that speed tier where you're safe from most doubles, So I think this is one of the few cases where the attack refinement is best. This pushes Marisa's average attack stat all the way to 51, and the higher attack you have, the better Glimmer is. With this kind of build, Marisa can be a frontline red sword for you. There are certainly a bunch of unique skill sets you can try, but I think this classic Wodao set matches very well with Marisa. And the only heavy investment is Life and Death 3. Let's not forget the real prize is that you now have access to Infantry Pulse, which can let you do some wild stuff. Ideally, you want to pair her up with other Infantry Pulse users whom use Wodao, Slaying Weapons, or Dark Excalibur, and other non-Blade Tone mages. Alternatively, you can try out Miracle Strats and other stuff. Infantry Pulse is an untapped skill with a lot of potential. That's all for today, guys. Have a nice day.
Watch this.